Hello friends, I'm Brian, and this is Gizmo Board Games. Today it is the beginning of yet another month, so that means, since it's the first Sunday of the month, it's time to look back at what I did last month. In my new format, I go ahead and take a look back at the videos I have put out on YouTube for your enjoyment, and hopefully you've caught them all, but if you didn't, here's a chance to figure out the ones that might have slipped through the cracks that you can go back and look forward to. And then I take a look at the new to me games that I enjoyed from the month, and it was quite the big month, and we'll get to that when I start that segment. But first, let's go ahead and look back at what I did in February. The videos, I posted 8 new videos in February, so that's pretty much 2 a week for a 28-day month. The math is exactly 2 a week, in fact. So it was a busy month for me, at least video-wise. Because I am trying to pick up the content, I do guarantee 1 video a week, but I'm trying to slip in a second one more frequently than I used to in the past. Those 8 videos included this video for last month's look back, the look back at what I played in January, and then I had my favorite component series I've been doing, and in this one it was my favorite component from Keyflower, so check out that video if you want to see what I enjoy about Keyflower. And then on Valentine's Day, I went away from the norm and posted my 10 recommended solo games because everybody else was putting up their 2-player games and couple games and whatever. And I decided to reach out to those solo crowds on that day of the year. And then I posted my 1 cube challenge. It's basically a video challenge that's been going around where people have been drafting games and trying to fit them into 1 Kallax cube, which is roughly 13 by 13 inches, I believe. I released my review video of last month. That was Small World, a game from quite a while ago. I believe 2008. I might be wrong now. But that game's been out for quite a while, and I went ahead and reviewed it towards the end of the month. But the majority of my month, and the one that brought the most viewers, obviously, I kind of saw it coming. Not that I was fishing for viewers. I had celebrated my 1-year anniversary on the 28th of February, and in conjunction with that, I went ahead and released my top 50 favorite games with my 10-to-1 coming out on the last day of the month, the 20th of February, as a 1-year anniversary celebration. I may or may not redo that every year around the same time frame, depending on how much more comfortable I feel about the movement within the top 50. But it was my first ever top 50 favorite games of all time. I released it in 3 video parts, 50 through 31, 30 through 11, and then the top 10 on February 28th to round out the month of the videos I released. All right, so let's get into the games I played last month. First of all, let's get through the stats. I played 78 games, or times, whatever you want to count. 78 games I played in a 28-day month. 43 of them were unique games. That means they weren't repeats within the month. And 16 of them were new to me games. And that's what I'm going to count down here to finish out this video, or the majority of this video. Is my 16 favorite games that were new to me last month in February. And I played 14 repeats in February too. You don't care about that. So let's go ahead and get into those 16 new to me games that I played in February. I think that's my biggest month yet for new to me games in the smallest month. So that's crazy. I can't believe that I got so many new to me games in. But again, I'm playing through Kickstarter releases, new games I've picked up along the way, games that have been sitting on my shelf of opportunity, etc., etc. And I'll kind of cover them as it goes. So let's go ahead and get into the countdown of my 16 new to me games from February in order of my enjoyment. And I'm going to say it was quite a month. This was a really hard list to narrow down. There are a lot of great, good to great, it was a good month. It was a hard month. I would say for sure the top 10, but maybe even more than that. I really, really liked, really enjoyed. I would play all 16 of them again. No doubt, no doubt. I didn't have a bad play in February for the new to me games. But definitely the top 10 are super, super good. So let's get into it. Starting with numbers 16, 15, and 14. This is a collection of games that on Board Game Geek are technically different games, so it counts as 3 separate games, but it's Timeline, the game Timeline. I played Discoveries, Diversity, and the Music and Cinema one, and I definitely did way better at the Music and Cinema one than the other two, having grown up with music and cinema and really enjoying music and cinema, although I'm a history person, so really should have done better in the other ones too. But I played those 3 different versions of the game Timeline, a game where you're playing 4 cards from in front of you into their spot on the timeline, trying to be the first to run out of your cards. If you guess wrong, you're going to draw another card and try again next time. If you guess right, then you've got 1 less card in front of you to worry about. Plays quick, plays easy, really fun. I don't know how much replayability they have because eventually you're going to know kind of the cards in each set, but there are plenty of sets to choose from depending on your likes and dislikes. So that's 16, 15, and 14. Discoveries, Diversity, I guess would be 16. What did I say? Timelines. Diversity would probably be my 16th favorite. Then Discoveries is 15, and then Music and Cinema for 14. Number 13 is a Button Shy solo game that I played. It's Unsurmountable. I enjoyed this one a bit, not as much as the other ones from the month, and not as much as some of my favorite Button Shy games in general. But Unsurmountable is a game where you're just trying to build out a path from the base of the mountain to the top of a mountain in a little pyramid of cards, and that's pretty much it. They've got different things that can happen depending on the card you choose, etc., etc. It was an okay game. I'd play it again for sure. It's a good filler game, good solo filler game, and enjoyable, but not great, I think. The number 12 new to me game is the Belgian Beers Race game. I played with my buddy right before we filmed our top 10 list in my top 50 countdown. It's his copy of the game. A little bit of just move around the board, and you've got limited time units to use to try to get to as many breweries as you can to taste beers and buy beers and collect points and collect different score conditions along the way. Not really pick up deliver, but pick up deliver-esque. More just travel around the board, gather things for end game points or progressive points along the way. It was fun. I would play it again for sure, but not one I'd be clamoring to play again, if I'm being honest. That was the Belgian Beers Race. Number 11 is another solo Button Shy game I played. It's Ugly Griffin Inn. It plays pretty similar to Unsurmountable in a different way. I think it had the same creator. I don't remember offhand. But Ugly Griffin Inn is basically you're putting some people into the bar, and then one of them is going to go to the inn to the top floor, and you're just trying to get a certain number of people on the floor. I think it's 8 before you have 7 people kicked out. And as they move around, they're going to trigger on the floors based on their likes and dislikes and wants and needs, etc., etc. And you're just trying to meet the victory condition after the deck runs out. It's all right. I liked it better than Unsurmountable. But mostly because of the theme, I just thought was funnier. But, these warriors and goblins and whatever, chilling out in the bar and then in, and causing a bunch of noise and odors and such. So that was funny. The game was simple, but a little bit of complexity to it. But it's all right. It's another take it or leave it filler game that I would play again for sure. But, not behind some of the other Button Shy games I would rather have on hand. Speaking of Button Shy game, my number 10 is a Button Shy game that isn't a solo, although it does have a solo mode, which I did play, but I also played it in the 2-player mode, and I nearly played it in the 3-player mode, but then we didn't. It's Tussie Mussy. Tussie Mussy is a little I split you choose, but I pick whether it's face up or face down, and then you choose, and you make points based on the bouquet you have and your keepsakes and your hearts, and it's not a complex game at all. It's kind of fun, a little bit of thinky. Not bad, enjoyable, but not great either. but I would play it again for sure. A easy filler game. I could teach it to anybody and play it 1, 2, 3, 4 people, no problem. And that's why I put it at my number 10, because I could see multiple uses of it in various crowds, and plays quick and easy. Number 9 is the opposite of pretty much all the games I mentioned before. This is a pretty complex game that took a while for me to wrap my brain around trying to play. I played it solo only. It's Stroganov. It's a little Euro game where you're trying to venture across the Siberian plain as far as you can, picking up furs to trade in for points and resources and other things. And, the theme's kind of weird. The gameplay was kind of hard to understand, but you got limited actions, so that piqued my eye. You got resource management, all the stuff I like in a good Euro, but the theme was kind of weird, and the gameplay was more complex than was really needed, I think. But I do want to play with other people. I think it was a pretty decent game. I think there's promise in there because of the tight action selection and resources and everything. It could be a really good tight Euro. I need to play it again. It's just a little more complex, I think, than what I expected. And, I just got to get used to how it plays. And then I can teach it and play it some more and get a better judge on it. But I enjoyed it enough for the 9th spot. Number 8 spot is a game I played forever ago, but I never finished the game. I don't feel like I got a real play out of it. And I bought it recently and finally got it off the shelf in my group, big group. It's Deception, Murder in Hong Kong. And I really enjoyed it. It's a fun little, social-ish deduction game, big party game, where you're going around accusing each other of being the murderer and pointing out the reasons why. It's a good fun party social deduction game. I like better than some and not as much as others, so that's why it's kind of right in the middle of my new games of the month, because there are a lot of big hitters to come. My number 7 favorite new to me game from February is Mille Fiori, something like that. I don't know other languages other than English. I apologize. It's a card. What do I want to work? It's got kind of a Sushi Go mechanic where you're picking a card from a hand and pass, pick and pass, and then you're going to take the action of the card you picked and then do it again. And you're putting tiles onto the board and various areas that score in different ways. And the more, for the most part, touching tiles you have, the better you're going to score. And yeah, that's it. It's not a complex game, but it's got a lot of complexity ideas to it. So I think it's a good lightweight, entry-level-esque game with plenty of thinking points. And that's why I liked it. I could see it getting a little samey. I played it in 4, and that was pretty good. I considered playing it in 2, and then I realized there's no adjustment, and I don't think it would be as fun in a lower player count. So I think for a 3 or 4 player game, Mille Fiori works really well. It's fun, lightweight. I wouldn't want to play it probably in less than 3 for sure. Just because there's no, maybe you could house rule some stuff, but I think there's too much that can happen in a game for just 2 players. So it was enjoyable, but it's kind of the first game. This kind of the break between the ones, 16 to now are the ones like I thought were good, fun in the moment, but, I'll play them again for sure anytime, but I'm not clamoring to play them again. Whereas the things coming up, I would definitely welcome to the table over and over again. So let's move on to number 6. Numbsters is a game I just got. I don't remember if it was Kickstarter or what, but the newest Button Shy game. It's a game where basically you play it in one hand. It's based on the joke, why was 6 afraid of 7? Because 7, 8, 9. And what you're doing is you just get the number 8 card and you're having it eat an adjacent card based on either numeric adjacency, like if you have 3 and 4 next to each other, then 3 would eat 4. Or is it the other way around? 4 would eat 3? Whatever the case is. If the 8's in between the 3 and the 4, then 1 would eat the other and you're good. But if like 3's next to 11, then you got to rely on the top card saying, if odd eats lower odd or whatever the case is. And then the 11 would eat the 3. And so you just need to manage your hand of all 16, 17 cards, 18 cards, till you're down to just the 8 and one other card. And it's fun. That was a good little strategy, like one-hand solo game. I really enjoyed it. Probably not as much as a couple of the other Button Shy solo games, but definitely in my top 3 or 4 of the Button Shy solo games. And it plays well and plays small at one hand, unlike Sprawlopolis or Rove or whatever, where you need the table. Numbsters does not take up that room. I could see this being an easy airplane game for sure. All right, top 5 is starting off with Gizmos, a game that's been on my I want to play this list for a long time, mostly based on the name Gizmos. Gizmo board games, if you didn't catch that. But it's an engine builder, and I like engine builders too. And I've heard it's pretty lightweight engine builder, so I enjoyed it. I thought it was lightweight with enough heaviness, meat to it, whatever you want to say, that it was some thinking, and I didn't play a good strategy when we played it, so I didn't win. I didn't come close to winning. I was playing from behind the whole time. But I enjoyed it. It was fun. It's what it advertised. You know, you're getting the little marbles out, and you're using your gizmos to make the marbles do bigger and better things for you to try to get points to try to win the game. And it doesn't take too long, and it's not too complex. It was fun, and I enjoyed it. My number 4 favorite new to me game from February. Why do I keep forgetting that? From February, from last month, is Euphoria, Build a Better Dystopia. This is a Button Shy game that I've heard a lot of good things about, but I had never really heard about it, didn't know much about it other than of late people saying, it's a good game, check it out. And I did, and it was a pretty good game. It's a really tight resource management game where you got to build things to do things, and then you're just trying to get your stars on the board. And the first one around stars wins. And you're dealing with 3 different society kind of 3 different sectors of the board. And if you, or I think there's 4 actually, but you're going to land with like 2 of them or maybe 3 of them, depending on how the game plays out. And you get bonuses if bonus actions if you're playing into the sector of, your alliances and things like that. It was really fun. A good little management of resources, of workers, etc. Dice drafting, a little bit, or not dice drafting, but dice worker placement. So your number values matter in some of the spots, and others they don't. And it was a neat, fun little game that we played. I played solo, and then I played in the group of 6, I believe. And everybody kind of enjoyed it, so we'll need to do it again sometime. But Euphoria, Build a Better Dystopia was a fun little dice worker placement, resource manipulation, no scores involved game. My number 3 favorite game, new to me in February, is an oldie game. A game that I kind of got on a whim based on just hearing how good it was, and I think it's kind of getting harder to get. I don't know. But it's Troyes. I wish I was better at French. Troyes. An old game. It's there behind me right there. If you don't know what I'm saying. It's another dice worker placement. Rolling the dice, and this time the dice do matter. Their value is a whole lot more than Euphoria. And you're going to take 1 to 3 of them into a spot, and you can buy them from each other. So there's a bit of, not necessarily take that, but a bit of stealing from your opponents and using their dice, but you're going to pay them for it. So that, they're getting something out of it, but they don't have any say. They can't block you. And you're just trying to build up this city the best you can to get the points that you need, but you're also trying to defend off the bad events that are happening too, kind of as a collaborative in a way, but whoever helps the most gets the most benefit from it. I probably didn't explain that very well, but it's a really fun game. I enjoyed it. It's a great dice, little bit worker placement and drafting because all the dice are in play, but you have some that are free because they're your dice, and others you got to pay for because they're somebody else's. I just enjoyed Troyes, whatever it's called. I enjoyed it. My number 3 new to me game in February. My number 2 new to me game in February that I enjoyed was Architects of the West Kingdom. Again, I played this solo, and I played it in a group of 5 or 6. Yeah, 6. The max player count again. And that game was a bit of a chore. but I still enjoyed playing it for the most part. I just wish, I either taught it better or some of the people played better at advancing the game, because it did bog down for quite a bit when it didn't need to. But I really enjoy it. I really like the worker placement. You got so many workers, and the more you have in a spot, the better you're going to get out of that spot. But the more likely it is you're going to have your workers rounded up and thrown in jail. Everybody's got their asymmetric kind of abilities they can do. And everybody's just trying to do their own thing, whether it's build the buildings or build the chapel or generate resources or build the Works of Wonders, because I've got all the expansions. So, of course, I threw them all in. And everybody's just trying to do their own thing on a shared world where you can't get in each other's way, but you can kind of disrupt other people's actions or just make it so they're not getting as much benefit out of those actions where they have their workers. It's a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. Good thinky game that I've heard lots of good things about for a long time, and I'm finally got my hands on it, and I'm pretty happy with it. That leads me to my favorite new to me game I played last month, and this one is a little different from the norm in that I don't normally include online plays, but I really, really liked this game, and I liked this play, and I enjoyed Obsession on Board Game Arena. I only played it there once. I should play it again. It's on Board Game Arena. I can just jump on and play it again. But that's definitely my kind of game. You're managing your workers, you're managing everything, and trying to just get points and collect more abilities to do later and upgrade them to do them better and make them more valuable. And I really liked Obsession. The theme is neat. I never really got into Downton Abbey and that Romance period, Renaissance period, whichever one it is. It's decent. I enjoy it, but I just enjoyed the gameplay and the thought process that went into every action selection, and every meeple I was using have different colors, and the colors can activate different abilities, and your guests are male or female, and that could matter because I had a lot of female guests and I had abilities that needed male guests. But yeah, I really enjoyed Obsession. I want to get my hands on it again, even though I could play it right now. But I'd like to get my hands on it for real, because I don't really enjoy the online play if you followed along my videos before. But this one still left that impression on me that I really liked Obsession, and I want to play it again. And so that's why that was my favorite new to me game from February. And there you have it. That's the end of my look back. 20-some minutes, probably longer than I expected, actually. But I did play 16 new to me games, and that was a lot to cover. And it was really hard to narrow down, especially when I got into the top 3 or 4. Like, I enjoyed all those games, and I enjoyed spending this time with you. I hope you enjoyed watching. Give me a thumbs up if you did. Subscribe if you haven't already. And leave a comment below what you played in February and what new games you enjoy and what you think of the new games I put on the list that you might have put in different orders. I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye.